In the small, unassuming village of Mushahar in Bihar, India, a story unfolded that would send shivers down the spine of the entire nation and puzzle experts worldwide. This is the story of a young boy named Amarjeet Sada, whose early years were marked by events so disturbing, they defy easy explanation. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Born in 1998 into a family facing extreme poverty, Amarjeet's life began like many others in his village. His parents were laborers, struggling daily to make ends meet. The community was close-knit, a place where everyone knew everyone, and life, though hard, was simple. But beneath this surface of normalcy, a dark and unsettling pattern was about to emerge. It all started in 2006. Amarjeet was just 7 years old when his aunt came to visit, bringing along her 6-month-old baby girl, his cousin. The family was delighted to have them. One afternoon, his aunt left her sleeping baby in the care of Amarjeet and his mother for a short while to run an errand in the village. When she returned, she found her baby gone. A frantic search began, involving the entire family and concerned neighbors. After some time, Amarjeet's mother noticed something strange. Amarjeet seemed unusually calm, almost detached from the growing panic around him. When she questioned him, his response was chilling. He calmly led his family to a nearby field. There, they found the lifeless body of the infant, partially buried in a shallow grave. The family was devastated, thrown into a state of shock and disbelief. How could a 7-year-old child be responsible for such a thing? They questioned Amarjeet, who admitted to the act without any apparent remorse or understanding of its gravity. He described what he had done in a matter-of-fact tone that deeply disturbed his parents. Faced with an unimaginable situation and terrified of the social stigma and legal consequences, the family made a fateful decision. They chose to keep the incident a secret, hoping it was a one-time, inexplicable tragedy. They told the rest of the village that the baby had died from an illness. For them, it was a desperate attempt to protect their son and their family's name. They couldn't bring themselves to believe their child was capable of true malice. Life in the village returned to a fragile sense of normalcy. But the secret weighed heavily on the family. Months passed, and a second tragedy struck, this time even closer to home. Amarjeet's own baby sister, just 8 months old, went missing. The fear that had been simmering within the family erupted. Once again, it was Amarjeet who was found to be responsible. When confronted, he confessed to his parents in the same detached manner as before. He admitted to taking his sister's life. This time, the family could not deny the horrifying pattern. Their son had now been linked to the deaths of 2 infants. The weight of their secret became unbearable, yet the fear of reporting their own child to the police was still too great. They were trapped in a nightmare, living with a child whose actions they could neither understand nor control. The community remained unaware, and the family continued to suffer in silence, praying that the horror was finally over. But it wasn't. In 2007, about a year after the first incident, a neighbor left her 6-month-old daughter, Khushbu, at the local primary school where the baby's mother worked. She believed her child would be safe there. During a break, Amarjeet, now 8 years old, approached the sleeping infant. He picked her up and carried her away from the school, and noticed. When Khushbu's mother returned to find her daughter missing, a wave of panic swept through the village. A massive search party was organized, with villagers combing every field and corner of their small community. This time, the disappearance couldn't be explained away. Suspicions quickly fell upon Amarjeet. Some villagers had seen him near the school around the time the baby disappeared. His strange, emotionless demeanor had not gone unnoticed by the community. The villagers confronted Amarjeet's parents, who could no longer hide the truth. Under the pressure of the entire village, Amarjeet was questioned. And once again, he confessed. He calmly recounted how he had taken the baby, describing the act in detail without a flicker of emotion. He led the police and the horrified villagers to the spot where he had buried Khushbu. The discovery of the baby's body confirmed everyone's worst fears. The village was in shock. The child they had known, the quiet boy from the poor family, was at the center of a series of unimaginable acts. This time, the matter could not be concealed. The police were involved, and Amarjeet Sada, at the age of 8, was taken into custody. His case immediately garnered national and international attention. He was labeled the world's youngest serial killer. The media descended upon the small village, trying to piece together the story of how a child could commit such crimes. At the police station, Amarjeet's behavior continued to baffle the authorities. He showed no remorse, no sadness, and no understanding of the finality of death. He would ask for biscuits and smile at the officers, as if he were on a simple outing. When a psychologist was brought in to evaluate him, the findings were deeply troubling. Amarjeet was diagnosed with a conduct disorder, characterized by a persistent pattern of behavior that violates the rights of others and major societal norms. The psychologist noted a complete lack of empathy and an inability to distinguish right from wrong. The question on everyone's mind was, why? What could drive a child to do this? Theories abounded. Some pointed to the extreme poverty and hardship of his upbringing, suggesting it could have stunted his emotional and moral development. Others explored the possibility of an underlying neurological or psychological condition that was present from birth. The lack of proper education, social integration, and parental supervision were all cited as potential contributing factors. His family, though they had hidden his initial actions, was not seen as malicious, but rather as uneducated and terrified parents who were completely unequipped to handle such a crisis. Under Indian law, a child under the age of 7 cannot be held criminally responsible for their actions. For children between 7 and 12, culpability depends on their ability to understand the nature and consequences of their actions. Given Amarjeet's psychological evaluation, it was clear he lacked this maturity. He could not be tried as an adult or sentenced to prison. Instead of a jail cell, he was placed in a children's home, a secure facility for juvenile offenders, until he turned 18. His time in the juvenile facility was focused on rehabilitation. He received psychological counseling, therapy, and education in a structured environment. The goal was not to punish, but to understand and, if possible, correct the deep-seated issues that led to his actions. Reports from the facility were sparse, as his identity was protected under juvenile justice laws. What we do know is that he was kept in isolation for a period and underwent intensive behavioral therapy. The staff worked to teach him empathy, social skills, and the difference between right and wrong, the very concepts he seemed to lack. In 2016, Amarjeet Sada turned 18. As per the law, he was to be released. His name was legally changed, and his records were sealed to give him a chance at a new life, free from the shadow of his past. He was reportedly sent to a new location with a new identity. Today, his whereabouts are unknown. He has been absorbed back into society, a young man who carries one of the most disturbing childhood histories imaginable. The story of Amarjeet Sada leaves us with more questions than answers. Was he born with a propensity for these actions, or was he a product of his harsh environment? Could intervention and therapy truly reform someone who committed such acts at such a young age? And the most unsettling question of all, is he truly rehabilitated, or does the potential for such behavior still lie dormant within him? His case serves as a stark and tragic reminder of the complexities of the human mind, especially in its formative years. It highlights the critical importance of mental health awareness, early intervention for behavioral issues in children, and the need for support systems for families in crisis. The story is a chilling exploration of the darkest corners of human nature, made all the more terrifying because it began in the mind of a child. Thank you for watching this deep dive into a truly unsettling case. If you found this story compelling, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more content that explores the fascinating and often mysterious aspects of the human experience. Stay curious and stay safe.